Hi guys, welcome back for another tutorial. It's Good Friday today and I'm still at home as most of you are with this COVID-19. I thought I would do a different one today with removing bins that are in my photograph. I took this photograph a while ago at Mount Macedon, got up very early to go and get it and found that it was bin day. Most of my disappointment because it took about 2 hours to get there. So I'm going to show you how I remove those bins, but first let's develop the photograph. So I'm in camera calibration and I will choose here from camera calibration which one I want to use. Now at the moment I think I'll be using landscape, but let's flick through and have a look to see what they look like. This is standard, faithful, landscape. Now landscape has a lot more brightness come into it around these areas, and I like that, the look in the trees and the leaves. Neutral, and you can see a bit more mist show up in the neutral. Portrait, just a little bit softer, there's not so much detail in the leaves. And back to standard. So I'm going to choose in this one to develop my picture in landscape. I like that one a little bit better. The next thing I'm going to go is up to transform, and in transform I'm going to hit auto and have a look, and that doesn't do a lot but just enough to make sure. So transform's where we level out our photograph. We can actually tell it if we want full, vertical, level, but I think we'll just go auto in that. That's great. So after that, I want to take you guys up to basic here. And the first thing that we will do in basic is we'll find our blacks and our whites. Now, if you remember from yesterday's tutorial, we would hold down the Alt key and then the left side of the mouse. That will cause a white screen if we're hovering over the black. And we just want to make sure we've got a little bit of black showing up, which you can see up in the top here. So if I hold that down again, and we've got a little bit of black there. We do the same thing and we go Alt tab over the white, and we want to make sure that we've got white showing in there. That gives us a true white and a true black. Now you can do it by eye if you feel like you want to do it that way. We can see the detail a bit better. Okay, next we will do our shadows, and I'm going to pull those shadows up, as you can see, and just put a little bit more detail there into our leaves. Highlights, I don't think I want to do too much with my highlights. I'll slide it around a little bit to show you. So I don't really want to change too much of my highlights. I like them as they are. So I'm going to leave those there. Maybe we can add a tiny bit of contrast in here if I show you. And again, I actually don't want to do too much with that, but perhaps a little bit of exposure. Now, as I've shot in RAW, we get to choose when we come back the white balance, but if you are shooting in JPEG, you need to choose your white balance when you're in the field. It's the same with the camera calibration that we did in the beginning. Those things have to be chosen when you're out in the field with your camera, and you make those decisions whether you want to use landscape, portrait, monochrome, or whether you want to use a warm white balance or a cool white balance. Now, I'm not going to show you fluorescent and I'm not going to show you tungsten because they really wouldn't suit this photograph. But let's flick through the other ones. So let's have a look at our auto. Daylight. You can automatically see that's added more oranges into our photograph. It's started to really warm it up. Let's go through to cloudy and a lot more orange again. Shade will be even warmer. And then we have, let's have a look at flash. So I don't really want to lose the greens that are in the photograph here. So I'm probably not going to, let's have a look at cloudy. I don't like the orange showing up here. So let's go back and we just might go on to auto, and I will bring up some of those colours myself by using HSL. So the HSL panel is where we choose our hue, our saturation and our luminous. Really, I want to just bring up perhaps a little bit of orange in this photograph. Now I can choose it two ways. I can drag the sliders just so I have orange coming up, or I can grab on here and I just tap it with the left side of my mouse and tap in a red area. Now I'm using my up and down arrows and I can add, you'll see over here in saturation, the orange and the red sliders are moving towards the right, and I can add as much red or orange as I want. But you can see in the green in the trees going along the road that that's destroying some of the image. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at our hue. And we can make it a little redder if we want to. I'm watching more in this area here. And our luminous. Let's slide that and see whether we want to make those trees glow a little bit more. Now the same with our orange in luminous. Nope. I think we'll just keep that as it is. I like this mist that's going on in the background. I want to keep that there. Excellent. Go back to the basics panel, and first we might look at our two photographs. So there's one against the other one. We've just got a little bit more brightness on this one on the right hand side, more definition in the trees. Bit of light coming down here. We still have these ugly bins to deal with, but we'll deal with those in a moment. We just hit loop back here and that puts us back to the one photograph. Now, do we want a bit of clarity in this photo? Let's use the slider and have a look. If we go the full clarity, that looks terrible, but just perhaps a little bit of clarity in the photo. Okay, vibrance. Do we need it? Perhaps not. So let's slide our vibrance. Doesn't that look awful? So please don't overdo vibrance. Just a tiny, I've gone +10 on vibrance, and I really don't want to do saturation. I'll show you what that does. So not natural. So let's bring that back to 0. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. One thing you'll notice that I did last time was I went into lens correction. I'm going to click that again. And I did talk yesterday about removing chromatic aberration. In this photo, I'm not too worried about it, so I'm not going to click that one on. I'm going to enable the profile correction, and you can see that's taken away some of the darkness and vignetting in the corners here. It's recognised that I'm using a Canon. It's recognised I'm using a 24-105. Now, I will click that again just so you can have a look. So if you watch the corners here, and we click it again, and we'll probably leave that, as long as we don't lose this misty bit at the end. Now, I'm quite happy with this. So let's have a look at the two compared. So all I've done is brightened up the photograph bit. I've not used any vignetting. I don't want to do that at all. And I've just added a bit more reds into the photograph. So that's pretty good. Now, the main reason that we're doing the tutorial is to show you guys how to get rid of those bins. So what I'm going to do is zoom in. So I'll zoom in and show you those bins. Okay, so here is the bin, and we can move around using our navigator here to have a better look at them. What we want to do is try and clone something that looks the same as where this bin is sitting. So we go up here and we can use our clone tool or our heal tool. In this situation, we want clone tool. I'm going to feather this out just a little bit because that will soften the sides and blend a little bit better. So we take our mouse and we run it down, say, the side of the bin like this. You'll see it go white. What Lightroom's going to do is find an area that will match up well to that part of the bin. So it's picking an area. I don't like it. I can grab it by the side of the handle and bring it over and tell it I want an area over this way. Now I need to move that down a little bit to try and match. You see Lightroom's a little bit harder than what it is in Photoshop. I could do that in a smaller group, but you can see part of that bin's gone. I'm going to do it again. I'm doing done each time when I finish, only because I want to be able to remove one of these if I'm not happy with it. So let me just scoot along the top of the bin, and I'm going to do it this way now. It's going to find an area that matches. It's picked over here, and I'll say done. Now, if we look at our before and after, you can see that it's looking better. So I'll go back, pick up the healing tool or the clone tool, and now I'm going to run down this area. And you can see I'm not making it straight. The reason I'm not making it straight is because if we do it straight, it's actually going to be more noticeable. So I'm just going to find an area that matches, because I don't like the one that Lightroom has chosen. You see, I'm trying to get a line here that will match. There we go. Now what I'm going to do is go over here to our adjustment brush. So let's click on clarity, and I'm going to take that clarity down. I don't want it up, and I can blend over. Just a little bit so it's sort of blended in. Okay, so our bin's gone. I can get rid of this by saying Control Z. So on my keyboard now, I'm hitting Control Z, and I'll hit it until it actually goes back that the bin's there. Or another way I can do it is open up my history, and I can do it here and go back to where I had the bin. There we go. Close my history back up. So you do have history here for everything that you've done on this photograph, and that allows you to be going backwards if you've gone too far. So you don't actually have to Control Z. So instead of doing it this way, I'm going to show you how I do it in Photoshop. Now, to be able to do it in Photoshop, the easiest way is to right click and come up here to Edit In, and choose Edit in Adobe Photoshop. That is if you have Photoshop. I'm going to open it up. So now Lightroom has exported that photograph into Photoshop, and the first thing that I am going to do here is I'm going to right click on our background layer, and I'm going to duplicate it. I'll call the duplication layer bins, hit OK. I'm going to work on this layer. I don't want to completely ruin this layer. If anything goes wrong, I can always go back to here. But if we click into this layer, and I'm going to zoom in, so let's go View and Zoom in, and I'm going to say 100%. Just move around to where I find our bins, and there's the bin there. Now again, I'm going to use a cloning tool just like I did before. This is the cloning tool over here, which is in Photoshop as well, but the cloning tool in Photoshop is far better than the cloning tool in Lightroom, so that's why I want to use it. Now you see I'm hitting down on my Alt key and then clicking on my left side of my mouse. A little target symbol comes up. That is where Photoshop will find the area that you want to duplicate on top of that bin. You let go, and you can see now wherever I move the mouse, that target is showing. So you can see this area is showing. So we can kind of match it up there. You see it matches. And now I'm going to, on my laptop, hold the left side of my mouse down, and I'm going to drag across. I'm not going to do all of the bin at once. I want to try and keep it natural, and you'll see that I'm just moving all over the place. I'm not making a straight line. So now let's go over to this part of the bin and match up. And as I drag, so it's still finding that same target, I can pick a different area if I want. So I hit Alt and I hit the left side of my mouse. That's now found the target. I let go and now I can slide around here. I'm going to go over a little bit. So if I turn off this layer, you'll see underneath the bin, and the bin's gone. So let's get rid of this pole here. So again, I'm going to find an area that matches quite well. I hit my Alt button, hit my left side of the mouse. It's picked its target. I let go, and now I'm going to match up and slide up. There we go. So now that's gone. I am getting a bit of a line here and I don't like that, so I'm going to Alt mouse click there and bring in a little bit of that darkness there so that it kind of doesn't look like lines. And I might do the same on this side, and I'm Alt click, let go, and just drag a little bit there. Take a little bit from here, Alt click, okay, now I'm going to do this bin. We'll get rid of this 60 sign. So let's Alt click, and I can just get rid of this sign here. You can see it disappearing, and we're choosing an area up here. I can choose another one, Alt click. I don't always keep using the same area because then it starts looking like it is cloned. So Alt click, maybe here. So Alt click, and down, maybe up here, Alt click, bring that down. So it's looking a little bit cloned there, Alt click, there we go. So let's get rid of this bin here. I'm going to use this area in here. So I need to hover over, hit my Alt button and my left side of my mouse. You can see it's picked it up. And I'm going to run that along as if I'm going along the road. And then click it again. So I hit this, Alt click. Now, I want to get this little bit of the road, so I'm going to hover over here, Alt click, and let's bring that up. You see that? Up here, Alt click, match it up. Maybe I can darken that up a little bit, so Alt click. And I could even take it, I'll Control Z that out. I can take it from here. So Alt click, and I bring that road across. There we go. So we get rid of this bin. So I'm going to click in this area, Alt click, Alt click. Now if I was doing this just for myself, I'd take a little bit more time. I don't like this area here, so I'm going to find an area that will suit going in there. Let's have a look. You can really see this bit here, which doesn't look great. Much better. Okay, I'm quite happy with that. So let's move down and across. Oh, I think I'll fix up these areas while we're here. So I'm just going to clean up these little leaves. So you can see that when I click, the little cross always stays the same distance from where I've set it. That looks better. Here we are. So this one here, I'm going to take some area from around here where it looks like agapanthus, and let's just blend that down into there. And then this area here looks quite good. So Alt click, you can see I've set my target, and let's match that over. Not quite right. Try that again. Alt click. There we go. Let's do that again. Alt click. It's going directly across, and you can see that we're matching up underneath. Back over here. Alt click. Let's take it from this side. Alt click. Nope. There we go. Now I still have bin here, so I'm going to take from here. And that looks pretty good. We might just put some of this here. Just blending that down. There is a footpath here, so we don't particularly want to lose that footpath. I better put that back. There we go. Beautiful. Now before and after, much better. Let's do this bin here, and we've got a tree going through it as well. So I want to try and concentrate on the tree looking the same. So I might just make my mouse a little bit smaller. Okay, let's do this one here. Now I want to take from this tree Okay, now we've got that done. Let's have a look at what it looked like before. And now. Excellent. So I think that's good enough. So let's export it back to Lightroom, and all we need to do is click off here. We say yes. And here we are back in Lightroom. Now I might just check everything over. I'll add a little bit more exposure. No, quite happy with that. Just check our tone curve to see if I want to add any lights. Perhaps just a little bit. And I might add a little bit of vignetting, just to draw your eye to the centre. Just ever so slightly. Excellent. That's it. So I hope you're all enjoying your Easter weekend, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
And I will, when the sky is falling, I promise you I'm all in, no turning back. And every day, every moment, and every breath you take, I choose you.